Greetings, everyone. In this video, we will be going over extremely sensitive topics such as pedophilia, threats of killing other people and finding where they live and actually killing them, manipulating minors, and vulnerable people with mental illnesses to make their reality seem more unfazed and ununderstandable than it already is by changing their views on what is right and wrong, putting sexual stuff where it shouldn't have been to people who obviously shouldn't have had to see it, and exploiting protected class, such as this person obviously exploiting his protected class, such as somebody from the LGBTQ community, which affirms as gender fluid and pansexual, and also as mixed racial, which would mean white and black, even though he doesn't even look a single big white. That doesn't even matter. He should not be making any racist remarks in general in any sort of context. But anyways, let me just go over to this because he is apparently accusing my friends and my friends' community of being pedo supporters because apparently in the past he apparently claims that I have caused some pedophilic manner and that I have well done stuff. Okay, so let me just get over it. Let me introduce myself. My name is Davide Artuso. I'm currently 19. I'm about to turn 20. Crazy, right? And when I was 16, I wanted to be a Fortnite YouTuber because I was really good at the game. Okay, keeping it short and clean. And so I decided that the best idea for that was to, look for another small Fortnite YouTuber and collaborate with them. I then found this individual named Adoaq, and then we became friends. And then drama started with all of that. Within the years, basically, he manipulated me and other bunch of people because we had a pretty huge friend group with around 20 to 30 to perhaps even 50 people or so, even more. And they all got exposed to this madman due to the fact that, well, this individual, he knew what he was doing, okay? He knew that most of these people were minors and all of that, and he did not care. He claims to be he claims not to be a not family friendly streamer. However, he does not care about saying very NSFW work or other stuff on his stream, in public, or otherwise to minors, show very sensitive material to minors, such as pornographic images, and otherwise to them, and then kind of just manipulate them into believing that what they see is correct and it is fine. So, okay, so let me just imply what happened, okay? The person accusing me also participated in and normalized this environment, and this environment is basically that he sexualized pretty much everything: his skin, his his in-game skin, because he has this game obsession with his video game, and otherwise, and he's pretty much a freak overall. Um, he knew minors were around, literally knew that that would happen because he's a Fortnite YouTuber. There's gonna be kids around, and well, you can't say all that shit to people like that are like around 16, 14, especially somebody like me, because I was a vulnerable person. I have neurodivergence. I am confirmed to have very strong ADHD. And at the time, I didn't know what the internet had waiting for me. I didn't know what the N word was. I didn't know what the sexual stuff was. Pretty much all I did was be with this guy and kind of adapted to it. I kind of worded it correctly, because what did I write this? What happened was wrong because the environment was wrong. The boundaries were wrong, and I was influenced by a toxic online space while I was young and mentally unstable. Yes, also this part because I was mentally unstable and suffering from the fact that I hadn't received the necessary medical treatment when I was young, and due to this, I was heavily unstable and just had this online persona because this was only happening with me when I was online, and playing with this person and just interacting with the online community and all of that. So obviously, I was one of the most affected due to this, but of course, there were other minors and other adults alike who were influenced by this part. So I will just go over the things that he did. Here I show basically a picture of him in 2023 showing that he wants to kill somebody's girlfriend who at the time was a 14-year-old girl. Okay? You can't fucking say that, man. You can't fucking say that. Here we got another part where he says that I will want to kill myself after he bullies me enough. Another part here is where he doxes somebody who he alleges is another pedophile, which I will say this is another thing that he continuously does. He keeps blaming other people for everything he is because there's also proof here. I will show you these screenshots of him that he claims that it is actually not him and it is AI generated, but actually there is even proof of date that these screenshots were taken when it actually happened, and I received them exactly from the person that alleged that he said these things to her, even though we were in a bad relationship, because this is also a person that claims I have hurt them due to me also making inappropriate jokes. I do not condemn or, you know, I do not condemn my behavior. I regret what I did. I take the blame for the shit that I did. I said this thousands of times, but people seem to not care. So, anyways, I will just show you everything here. This is pretty much I will show on screen some text because if not this takes too long. Let me go over the stuff basically that happened because my friend here is being blamed for being a pedo supporter, which is basically just guilty by association, which is what this person Adoq is claiming that my friend is, which actually he's not. My friend didn't actually do anything, didn't start any drama with him. Actually, it is him that is constantly trying to start drama with him and escalating because Adoq is known to be a person that loves escalating and gets off on the drama, literally smiles and laughs at people trying to confront him and trying to make him feel guilty about his actions as he chooses not to change himself and literally says, changing as a person is a choice, but he chooses not to change, but yet says that you haven't changed because he doesn't believe it. He wants to see deeds, but at the same time, he doesn't care because he doesn't want to see you. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He wants you to just die, okay? If you hurt him enough. So with this, we go over to the drama. Here we have some screenshots. Let's get to the first one, okay? So first off, my this guy, Adwak, comes to my friend and says, I will just say this, blah, 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 blah. He says that a person named Brookie shouldn't have been treated unfairly. The only unfair part is that she got kicked. Now, to the context, basically, she got kicked because people in the community of my friend were uncomfortable with her presence. There was nobody that said, oh, she's part of this guy's community or whatever. She was simply making people uncomfortable. And my friend, being a good leader, respected my people's opinion and simply kicked her out. And of the fucking story, there was no discrimination. There was no reason other than just the people's will that said it, that for him making this a goddamn choice, okay? Because I want to make this a very simple example. Imagine going to a private club, okay? And the private owner says that you cannot enter because in the past you have caused uncomfortability with his patrons, okay? And he has every right to not let you in because you have caused problem in his establishment. Or simply because you look like you're gonna cause trouble, okay? If the people feel uncomfortable with the presence of somebody, they are allowed to speak that out. You know, some people make people comfortable, some people make people feel neutral, some people are like, oh, cool, not a member, or oh, right, I'm not a member. Or some people just feel uncomfortable by it. Some people have to understand us and respect it. You cannot be like, oh, it's a discriminatory thing that affects me and damages me on such an emotional level. You cannot say that because that's not fucking true. Nobody fucking did anything to you. It is not discriminatory and was not a personal attack on the person that got kicked, which is this person, Brookie, or on his community. End of it. So nobody cares that she's part of his mods or whatever. That was not the reason. People were just uncomfortable. End of it, literally. So, moreover, let's go to the next one. Here, my friend literally says, hey, I don't blame my people for being uncomfortable about it, as there was some drama apparently with some people, but it got resolved. It was that fast. It is now handled. There is no need to be more about this shit. I do not know why this is starting. He doesn't also know why it is starting, but Adoq being Adoq, he loves to escalate. So he says the situation has already died and resolved. My friend, of course, can be shown remaining calm and neutral and not instigating or escalating the situation any further. So my friend obviously immediately responds to this other part that I almost skipped. In this part, he says, Monster Adoaq says that his members should be able to exist in the same space. They should be able to exist in his server and not be treated unfairly. That's fine. But if the people are uncomfortable with certain people, that is their opinion. And since it's his community, it's his choice. You cannot make people choose to not do something. It is their opinion. It is their rules. It is their space. They can choose to do whatever they want to do with it. Okay? You cannot say that that was discriminatory or, blame them for it. Okay? Another part I want to add is this particular part here where, people clearly say that they were uncomfortable talking about the drama that was involved in this conversation with this person, Brookie, or otherwise. It was very uncomfortable and they did not want it to be talked about. Obviously, Alok is like, what the fuck do you mean talking about them? Talking about their drama. They were talking things out, of course. There is literally nothing going on, Alok says. You know, of course, nothing was going on. It's him who kind of just went helicopter parent, even though he's not a parent. So his issues with both apparently is his things as well with this Brookie and this person that had issues with them. I do not, which he believes had issues with them, because nobody really knows who this person is, who had issues with them. There were multiple people that had issues with it, and not just one, actually. And then Alok claims that he's being blamed while he's doing his own thing. Actually, nobody blamed him. Everyone only talked about the Brookie thing. And actually, she didn't really speak much into the server. She actually didn't speak a single word. People just said that they were uncomfortable with it. And my friend responded. And then Alok threatens, obviously, to make something out of this. Well, we don't know exactly what. But then he says he should be able to say whatever he wants on stream, which further reinforces my point that Adoq is just a person that wants to say whatever the fuck he wants and doesn't give a fuck about the feelings of other people. He is somebody that loves drama and escalating because it gets him more money and views on his streams, or otherwise it just gets him off, as is oftentimes proved and overproved. However, his breaking of the peace treaty with me was another part where his stand is basically made out to be as a hypocrite, because if everyone is allowed to talk about what they want on streams, it just kind of defeats the point of a peace treaty that we actually agreed about, whereas he basically broke it many months ago as he made more videos claiming that I am a pedophile and more, due to him, manipulating me, making me completely more mentally unstable than I already was. Plus, I even said that I am neurodivergent and I have issues. He knew about this. He didn't care. He continued to do all this because he believed that being himself was correct and was the right thing around the minor. Probably wasn't the best thing that he did, but oh well. So I was also receiving backlash and problems from people in real life, like I was being stressed in real life as well in that period of time. So obviously, I ended up doing things that I regret, and I did not do them with my mind being completely present. But obviously, now he's claiming that I did very bad things, while at the same time, I already just showed proof that he literally is one. And also, I just want to reinforce my point that he cannot be trusted, because here he makes a video about him basically complaining that the proof that I showed, the screenshots that I showed, aren't actually valid, and that he's basically looking at the date, and then he shows some DMs and otherwise. But how do we know that he didn't delete them? During an altercation battle where this person whom basically thought Alok was a safe person, then came back to me after, claiming that I had abused them and hurt them, which obviously wasn't true. Which if I did make some inappropriate jokes to them, I did not mean to do so in a bad manner. Also, if I ever did any inappropriate jokes, even despite being in a very bad mental state, I always asked if I was going over too much, if I was being too much. I was always asking if they were okay. And if somebody would have just said, yo, I'm actually not okay with what you're saying, maybe we might have avoided a lot of bad stuff. But obviously, that wasn't the case. And I want to understand something, okay? I want to understand that some people, if you tell them this, where they might fear hurting your feelings, or just might not be able to know how to reply to that, especially young people, which was how I also wasn't able to say Adolf no when he was sending me pornographic images of Fortnite characters, and how most of my people and my friends also weren't able to do so, which is how many of the how we got more than 50 victims and perhaps even more than 100 unidentified, because a lot of people came to watch a stream after all. So in the end, he's a very terrible person and continues to say that he's completely innocent, even though he actually did stuff. To this day, he continues to do even more stuff. Again, he absolutely doesn't. Like, he's trying to say that my screenshots that I received from this person, which I got because that person wanted me to make Adok taste their revenge, which is basically how they worded it. They had me in still in a GC, which unfortunately they kicked me out of. I cannot bring back the messages that I had with them, but fortunately I still have the pictures that they sent me, which are completely true. I even have images. I even have data images, which further support the claim that these messages were sent between them, where Adok then shows his side, where obviously the messages are then completely deleted, which then shows them wanting to delete their messages. You know, they probably deleted their messages and just didn't make it apparent. We cannot prove that he didn't mean this because these messages are there. These messages exist. So how is he going to prove that they're fake? He will say that it's AI. Actually, the only one time that I used AI is due due to all the edits that he did of me, of my face and everything, that I made an edit of him kissing somebody, and I used AI to do so. And that was the only time I ever used AI, because I am very against AI. I actually used it during the time AI wasn't actually as popular as it is, as it was still pretty much 2024, and AI was not as popular back then. The older models were still around, and so it wasn't as heavy or popular as it was. Further on, let's go over the more of the messages that we have here, because I want to keep this fast. So obviously, my friend here is saying that it's interesting how Alok is saying there's literally nothing going on, even though there clearly is, if he's the one instigating. Obviously, Alok is like, the fuck you mean interesting? Like, interesting in listening, because, deep down, I'm just listening. I know that you're just trying to escalate or whatever. Here, my friend replies that, sarcastically or something, neutrally still, that, and your issues with both are none of my business, like you said about that this guy's thing. I have to blur that name out. I actually don't know who this person whose name I blurred out of actually is. But these issues have to be something private, and I will not go into detail with that because I actually don't know what it is. Then Alok says something. He says, "You keep wondering why I don't trust you entirely while you give me these kind of replies," which begs the question, wow, he didn't even know he didn't trust him. Fair enough, is what my friend basically says. He didn't even know that Adwak basically didn't trust him. After all he basically did, now he says he doesn't trust him. Pretty much is what it is. It kind of just begs the question of what is going on, but we have to keep listening to understand more. So here Alex says, why would I give it for a full 100% if two of the most worst people are friends with you? I know that one of the person is me and the other person is probably somebody else from the community that he's really mad about. Nobody knows. It might be nothing to you what they did to this community, but to me and the higher ups, it is something. I understand that everybody is entitled to remembering and being mad about something, but people have to move on. Now, here my friend says something really, really powerful, which is why I'm just friends with them doesn't mean actually nothing. Just because I'm friends with them doesn't actually mean anything. I've changed under my friend's roof, you know? I absolutely did. I've taken my 1 year of being off from fucking social media. I've taken my health in consideration, my mental health, that I really, really needed that. I really, really needed that. And I got better because of it. I'm fine now because I took a break from all of the bullshit that I was being constantly drilled through on my thoughts and everything. I seeked help. I chose to change. I chose to change. And there he's talking about me ruining the serenity of this place. Bro, he ruined my serenity. Like, I don't have anything much to say to all. He ruined mine because I didn't do what he claimed, you know. I was vulnerable and he liked doing that. And then I was his fucking victim. He's unapologetic and doesn't fucking care. Let's quickly look over the other screenshot here. Basically, here another part. It says he responds to my friend and says, I heard I am changed and they are changed so many times. David has still a lot of posts up, literally had to threaten bro in the last week of 2025, which is actually false. I did not actually speak to bro in the last of 2025 because the last time I actually spoke to Adoaq in 2025 was when he was threatening me and saying and claiming that I was behind some sort of alt account. Plus, the second last time that I spoke to him was 4 months before that part, and basically said that I was wrong for having a post up of not insinuating anything offensive or anything. It was just a post promoting the stream of this peace treaty that he basically broke. So, talking about the peace treaty, he completely broke it many months ago after we had it. Basically, the peace treaty's terms were that he would no longer speak of me on his streams, that he will no longer post videos of my face and my identity or my text or anything, that he would delete everything and I would just do the same for him. But of course, he broke it because then he pretty much tried to be slick, very slick, actually. He tried to be and made many videos saying, for example, I have this one saying, Monster, we have to talk. And this video, again, he keeps saying that I am to blame, that I did this, and that I molested this, and that. But in the end, he basically keeps saying, I protect this, I protect that. But in the end, he's just acting like an emo boyfriend in Roblox, protecting his he girlfriend and saying, bro, fuck up, bro, fuck off. He's trying to be tough, but actually, he's just acting like some sort of malnourished lion. Okay, he can't do shit. So anyway, that is false. However, one part is actually true. He did threaten me. That part is absolutely true. He did absolutely threaten me because why not threaten David? You know, I'm having a peace treaty with him. Let's threaten him over something stupid, okay? And threatening, he meant putting the stuff back up, even though I was keeping my part and I was keeping my mouth shut and I did not mention his name or tell or encouraged or told people to call him a pedophile, even in private. No, I did not do that. He's continuously saying that that's exactly what happened. And my friend obviously says, it meant something ages ago, which is exactly what I mean. It meant something, but ages ago. It meant something back then. Now it means nothing. So sometimes he thinks about the past dramas and he'd rather just move on from it. He can't wait for a day that the communities can say this is over fine. And I completely agree with that. Going over says, you're expressing yourself, responding to this part, to the part where Monster is saying that he's dragging it. My friend replies, no, you're just expressing yourself. That's fine. The community and Monster community are both rising. Then Alok replies with this: I have moved on, but I won't forget what I did. You have yourself and seen how me and David's relationship became. That is completely valid. You can move on and don't forget. That is absolutely fine. But moving on means also stopping to talk and continuously tormenting one's person just because of the past things that they did. You know, that is just, it's like if somebody was a thief, did prison time, and now comes back and people are still calling them a thief. That is wrong. Give them a fucking chance. If they prove to still be a thief, you can do whatever you want, but you don't even give a chance. You keep saying that people have to prove themselves with deeds and not words, but the thing is, he's being hypocritical because he doesn't even give them time to prove themselves. He doesn't even care. He doesn't want to see. He doesn't want to listen. Okay, so even here, he says that that's a valid thing to say in this other screenshot. You know, he even says that I'm barely active and I'm working with my business and I appear like every few weeks in his community. And then he says he meant December. December of what? December of 2000 years ago? He probably means 2025, but we did not actually speak in December of 2025. We did not. We didn't. I did not speak to him. Uh, oh, wait. I actually do remember. In December, he told me to fuck off. I wished him a happy Christmas for him to just then completely tell me to fuck off. You know, he was accusing me again of something, and I just told him, yeah, just have a nice Christmas, bro. And he told me I can rot in hell. So I don't really care. I did, in fact, not rot in hell and had one of the best Christmases ever. So, anyways, he said, my friend says it's a bad thing to say that you have moved on, but won't forget what people have done. And then he says, maybe my friend, this friend of mine doesn't believe Monster. And then he offers to send screenshot. Well, they don't need to see screenshots. To other stuff, Monster continues to say, still the same person. He doesn't believe in words. Never does. It's all lies. Like literally said seconds ago, he believes that everything is just lies. Again, Alok says he believes in this. And guess who calls out that? Me. Basically, he's mad at my friend's community because I exist in it. He basically just guilty by association, like I said before. And my friend knows this. Then he says, my community suffered the most, and I know nobody cares. Let me just add this. Your community suffered the most for many different reasons. You didn't suffer at all because you were happy that the drama happened, that you've caused very disturbing traumas for people, but you're just causing your community more trouble because the more your image gets hurt, the more your community gets hurt. While you just stay clean, you don't give a fuck. You're just the one not scared line that's not scared of anything, that's not scared of backlash, and laughs at it. Laughs at people just confronting him about his own bullshit, which he literally did in a Monday stream. After all, he doesn't really care. Suffering is the only thing that your community knows because you make them suffer by every single bad thing that you do. Even keeping them there and showing them that the way that you live is fine is a bad way to protect your community, which is why I believe that you are not doing what you think you're doing. But again, yeah, which then you say nobody cares, which is fine and obvious. I don't expect all, but a realization. I realize that you don't realize how much you are the cause for your own destruction. That's what I realize. It's got to come to an end one day, no matter who started it, because that one started numerous dramas going on for years. If it still carries on past the dead on 3 years anniversary, I wouldn't even know what to say, to be honest. I am totally with my friend here because if Alok doesn't fucking realize that it's time to move on, then literally I don't know what to fucking say anymore. Then obviously he continues to blame me and somebody else, what they both caused. And I'm just gonna say myself, okay, because I don't know who that other person is. What he caused doesn't change anything for me. I don't believe that he has changed. It's all bullshit. He did what he did. It may have ended, but the anger from the higher up towards me won't be shoved away. Cool. Like, here's my personal opinion, and it's not just my personal opinion, it's the actual truth. Okay, you cannot change somebody's opinion, okay, just because they decided to give me a chance. We, me, I showed that I was a better person under his roof. I showed that I am not what he continues to accuse me. And if he continues to not believe that I could prove that I'm a better person, then that's Adok's opinion and Adok's belief. He can believe whatever he wants to believe. Nobody is forcing him to forgive me. In the video, in the Monday stream, he claims and says that people forced him to forgive me, that my friend forced him to forgive me, to forgive my deeds, to forget my deeds. Well, actually, that's not what happened. I'm literally showing you the screenshots. That is not what happened. My friend is literally just saying, move on. Okay? He's literally just saying that. Okay? Let me just continue. Let me just continue, okay? Here, Beanie also says that he's also done things, doesn't compare to the level of things that me and other people have probably did them, like from dirtiness of it. Like, people here are admitting that we have issues and we have faults. Okay, we take our bad stuff in consideration. We take responsibility for it. We know we did bad. We know it made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Okay, and we take responsibility for that. And my friend also takes extreme responsibility for that, and that also is community. Here, obviously, he says that the feelings won't be shoved away. Of course, nobody is shoving away Arok's feelings because, of course, it's his opinion. No, we understand. You don't want to forgive? Don't forgive. Don't forget. Bro, nobody's shoving that away, okay? So, our feelings matter, he says. Of course. Of course. You guys are human beings. You guys are human beings. Nobody ever said you weren't. Your feelings are totally valid. It's your opinion. Nobody's saying it isn't. And then he says that changing is a choice. Absolutely, changing is definitely a choice, which is how I say that Alok had many times the choice to change. I even said it in when we had the peace treaty. Just change her, just become a better person, just stop this shit. And he just didn't, okay? He just refused to do it. He refused to do it. And I'm like, you refuse to do it? What do you want then? What do you want? If you know you have issues and you choose not to take help, look, I took help, then honestly, take the backlash. You're an asshole. Okay? And he says that me and I proved myself wrong many times, that he believes in deeds and not words. Cool, but you don't even give us a chance. Okay? Not just us, but many others, including other people who apparently apologized and wanted to talk it out. But when you actually wanted to talk it out with them, they were gone. That's your loss, I think. If this was still 2023 and 2024, and we never had issues or like really, I'm having a stroke reading this. I'm just gonna say you can't expect me to believe trust in 2026 after everything that happened. And my friend is like, fair enough. I won't fight for you but to believe it. I also won't fight for you to believe it. You don't have to believe anything. It's your opinion, but don't try to change others' opinion or beliefs. Okay, it's theirs, and at the end of the day, that is your choice and not mine to make for you. Exactly. So when this guy says that his community is pedo supporting or claiming that they forced this on him, they are literally lying. Now, here comes the best part that I want to properly introduce. How do people know that they're being mentioned if they aren't what if they claim they aren't watching my content? Simple, bro. You're literally a streamer. You make public content. People, people from the community or other people alike that maybe know us, okay, just show us. They just tell us. They say this happened. They come to your stream. They say this happened. This happened. This happened. That's how we know people without asking. Okay, we don't ask anyone because we don't really care about you. Okay, I don't care about you because you're talking about me and people who are probably mad. Care. We don't care. I'm not looking at your shit. So how do I know? People tell me. That's literally it. And you are bad mouthing. You're literally making fun of us, making you literally made picture of me and edited an audio of me moaning with AI and took a picture and said PO gaming. Okay. So no, you are bad mouthing. You're literally getting off on it. You're finding it funny. You're saying, guys, are you ready for this? And then show the most cringe thing ever on the history of humankind, trying to look like you're making justice. What justice are you doing, bro? I think you're not doing justice for your fucking hairline, bro, or your fucking beard, or your fucking looks, or the fact that you're exploiting your fucking family. Okay? So he said then says that's all I have regarding on the changing change. Yes. If they really changed, they would recognize why I'm speaking about it. Yes, we do recognize why you're speaking about it. We recognize that you're speaking about it because you just can't move on. Just want more drama and you want more views. Because you have multiple views talking about the same shit over and over. Like you're just trying to get traction, okay? Like, what do you want to say about that? Anyways, my friend then says, all right, I will tell them that this thing that he says. And he's just like, okay, because after all, it's his personal opinion. Okay. And Monster doubles down. He says, it's common knowledge. They should know. They should know why I'm doing this. They should not be mad. We have the right to be mad because we don't deserve this. We are victims. Like, there's many victims who have suffered this. You have heard many minors and adults alike by showing unsolicited porn. And we just couldn't say no because we were scared of what your reaction would be. And we've been all been changed and hurt in different ways, and you can't just do that. Okay, you can't just be like it's common knowledge. What the fuck do you mean? You claim to be a non-family friendly streamer, and yet you still keep minors under 15 in your community and say it's a brotherly relationship, sisterly relationship. I don't fucking know what the fuck you're doing with the minors in your community, but you're not protecting them, and you're definitely not a safe influence on them after everything that you're doing here. So, anyways, going over, my friend even says here that he also needed help with understanding some things. Everyone needs help. Okay, some things you just need help. You just need help from somebody who understands it better. And then Hadak says, this was and it's not hard to understand at all. Your opinion, past or not, which clearly puts more thing that he does not care about the past. He says that people are the same as they are. So like if a kid goes to jail after stealing some batteries in a grocery store, and then after 15 years of prison, which are actually pretty bad, it's just an example, of course, he comes out, acts pretty chill. He obviously is an adult now. He starts working and just doing a life, and people are making fun of him and saying, thief, thief. Obviously, that's not cool, bro, because he's changed his ways. He's choosed to change, you know? The state has given him a locked room and said, you can either change or not change. The choice is yours. And he chose to change. That's his choice. Nobody said change, you know? Past or not. You should respect if somebody changes. You cannot judge somebody from their past. You have to judge them from their current persona, okay? I mean, some things are unforgivable. And I understand that. But if I clearly prove to other people, yeah, I'm chill, I'm not a bad person, then You cannot go to a person and say, you're a Peter supporter just for letting me exist in their space, okay? Which is what he's claiming about the the community of my friends. And my friend then says, I know for some people it ain't that easy though. You know, there are just people who chose not to listen, which is you, Adwak. You chose not to listen. You chose to just continue being an asshole. And then Adwak says, you just confirmed it's a choice. Yeah, of course it's a choice to change. Yeah. And why the fuck would I believe that who, well, there's an error here, so I can't really tell who he's talking to. But if he's talking about coping, he's probably talking about people who are crying about it. I don't know. Then here he says this, and I'll just say this. Because it's true, people want drama to be over just like you. We were literally practically on your side when the elite started their bullshit, which is he's basically talking about his community being there for the other community. I try to pop into your lives when I can. I don't rush anything. If I have personally hated you or your community, I would never give Dammy the 0 point sprite. And I'll let you guys just get that yourself. Look, you can clearly tell my friend was actually trying to actively support my guy. And I respect that. You can be friends with whoever you want. I don't care. I don't mind. You can clearly say that he's tried to be good. And then he talks about me, of course. David has his business and he's never active to cause drama. Whenever he's online, it's most likely a stream appearance or talking in my server. I've done nothing, bro. I've done nothing. The community is always asking when the other custom is. The community try and get drama done and over and kicked out with as soon as possible. like like I could carry on, but we ain't like that monster. Some of them have done bad shit. I've someone done bad shit. He's probably talking about the community and himself. But everyone has done something they are not proud. Yeah, okay, he is. And not proud of. And honestly, this time I just need to dance before it turns 3 years old in July. Like he takes consideration of the community and everyone's actions. Like he takes responsibility. He knows everyone has done mistakes that people regret or not regret. It doesn't matter. We've all done mistakes. He takes responsibility as a community leader. And he's just saying, move on before it turns 3 years old, which actually it did turn 3 years old. For me, it did. The anniversary for me and Adox knowing of each other is actually 3 years old now. And most of us are near adults, or some are already adults. I'm speaking for my community here, he says, and no one has an issue other than some people being uncomfortable about the things. Yeah, there is no problem with us and you. Things just need to change for good. No drama does anyone good from any community anywhere in the world. People just watch us for content and the vibes, not the issues from the past and the present. You have my word, no one from my community will start on you, and we have your back. Which is literally what happened. Basically, Monster was claiming that Beanie's community was always starting on them, while actually Alok's community was always plotting behind their back, that they were the ones starting. Which is absolutely insane. The the community from my friend never fucking started anything. They just defended itself, and that is exactly what it is. We don't have to be friends. And our communities and besties, but both communities have got one thing, and that's respect. Exactly. They have respect. I will believe it when I see it as two other peeps. Obviously, Monster doesn't give a fuck. Then he mentions two people that I actually don't know because I don't know these people, I will not talk about this, okay? But I will talk about this. The drama is over, but the scars are there. Talking about the scars reopens them. Not as then Alex says, not necessarily. If you know you have them, you find ways for them to heal. Yeah, if you choose to do that. If you don't choose to do that, you can just bleed out, bro. Nobody cares. Yeah, basically what I did for my community to start growing again. Then my friend replies. And then he says, they all went wrong. Be specific. Who went wrong? Then Monster just says, you keep saying your community has nothing against us. Yeah, literally. Then he says something more, yet homophobia and transphobia get mentioned when we were there. Basically, he claims that there was some incident, but that was when Alok was actually in the server and was causing drama, and obviously people were enraged about him. And that was in the past. That is past shit that happened in the past because of his actions. And besides, there's many LGBT members now. You can't blame me for thinking like this. Well, this has happened many times, past or not, it happened. You're just being very cautious. I understand, but that's your belief, not my friends. You cannot change his. He understands that's yours, though, okay? So he's literally trying to tell you, just be calm, everything's fine, nothing's really happening, don't blame us. That's the reality. It happened, yes, but in the past, it doesn't shape who everyone is now because we have had time to change. You've also had time to change. You're still pretty much equal to what I remember you of. So in the occasion, though, I can't force people to support it, of course, because Alec is basically saying just respect it, okay? Just respect this LGBT thing to everyone. Not everyone is gonna respect it, bro. You have to understand that you can't enforce it, okay? You can't enforce it. As long as people don't make homophobic jokes, you can't really just say, "Oh, respect it." People have their own beliefs. As my friend says, you can't force people to support something, you know? They have their own beliefs like you have yours and I have mine. If I could make the world perfect, I would. Don't have that effect though. I'm not saying this should support it, I'm saying this as respecting both things. You can't force people to do that. Yes, you're humans too. Yes, you exist. Not just a straight, that's your point. Yeah, I understand that. And here we end with this video. I get that, but even take this as this, even in some religions, some people just don't respect or support it. You know, sadly, some people are just out there trying to give the LGBT community just more of a bad look. Like my friend here is just giving some insight to this. It's just giving like a fun fact, okay? Just reality. And if he doesn't like it, if Adok doesn't like this response, he's just hoping because it's reality. Okay? I'll give you time to read this yourself. And I'm going to add with this note, I am in no ways tied to any of the drama that the community of my friend has. I really, really am out completely with this. Like, if Alok keeps showing my face and whatever, I will sue him respectfully and I will pursue reports and whatever on my own. Okay. But being also a member of the community of my friend, I also have to say that you cannot just claim that they are things because I exist. I know I've changed, I've showed proof I've changed, but here he clearly shows that he doesn't give a fuck about that. And he doesn't care if you've changed or not. He doesn't even want to see it. He says you have to show deeds, but then doesn't care about those deeds. Okay. So I just want to pretty much show that. Okay. So with this, I end it. I want to also say this last part. The community of my friend, he's moving on. Nobody cares anymore. He can he can stick it up his ass. He can do whatever he wants. We are all moving on from this because we have to care about our sanity, or young, and our own, lives. We cannot be giving a fuck about some guy that lives constantly in his grandma's attic and talks constantly shit about people online. He's literally the living embodiment of a Twitter user plus Redditor moderator or whatever. Okay, so with this, I just say we're moving on. I am also moving on. I do not intend to respond to anything on stream or whatever, or otherwise. That's just his thing. That's just his whatever he chooses to do. I am not putting more more fuel into this fire. I am moving on. He can say my name as much as he wants. If he shows my picture, it's his. He should do it at his own discretion because he can be sued about that. He should do it at his own risk. Okay? And that's it. Otherwise, we are moving on. We do not intend to attack or cause more trouble. Okay? Done. Have a good evening, everyone who decided to watch this, and thank you all. You guys can absolutely believe whoever you want to believe, but we know what the truth is, and yeah, that's the end.